Good afternoon, dear participants of Tatarstan Forum. Today we host our guests and we will talk about what is important for specialists in agriculture and in veterinary. Great please, Rector of Kazan Rector University, Arat Valiyev, and Ravilov Rustam, Rector of Veterinary Academy, named after Bauman. My name is Marina Epifantsova, and we'll discuss very interesting issues. So that's new academy here. How many students came? Just to give us understanding. As you understand, this year is not easy while the pandemic is going on, but this year we admitted as many as we had to admit, and we admitted almost 1,100 students, and in total in our university we have about 5,000 students. So 1,100 you admitted this year. How many graduates will you have? So how many will finish if you hire 1,100? Well, about 1,000. That's very good. So you have you admit a lot, and you students ready to study, and the students are ready to finish, to graduate. So what's the situation in Veterinary Academy? In our university, it is smaller. Agrarian university is more universal, and they deal more with agriculture, and we deal more with animal breeding. We have some similar specializations. Nevertheless, our university probably half size of Agrarian University. This year we admitted more than 400 people. I don't remember exact numbers because we continue admitting students from foreign countries because of the COVID situation. Admission shifted a little bit time-wise, and speaking of number of applications, where we had a lot of them. Probably Agrarian University had the same, and in many universities I know probably was this same situation, but students had chance to apply online, and they used, of course, all possibilities. You can imagine that earlier you had to go to 5 universities, to 5 cities. Now you can do it online, just sitting at home. You can send your resumes, your application forms. Students use this possibility, and if last year we had 1,300 applications, so this year we had almost 2,500 applications, almost twice bigger, twice more. Probably Agrarian University had the same. So because online, you think because of online application? Yes, because application it's just intention. So that is why we had some difficulties with some timelines, but we did manage to fulfill the plan and to follow the plan. I believe that its admission was pretty successful. For the total number of students, no more than 2,000 now. I can say that about 1,900 students. These are full-time students and correspondence students. As for the dropout statistics, not all students graduate. It's a good thing that the number of dropouts is going down. Probably because students are more interested in agricultural specialities, and they're more interested in new stimulus which agriculture got because of sanctions of European Union, European countries, that our agriculture is developing very rapidly. It's a very good stimulus to go to the agrarian university. We get students with very good school results, with very good, very high GPA. You talked about foreign students, so do you have a lot of them? Do you see any drop of admission before we closed, before the lockdown? We have less students than last year, but in general, we about 3% of our students are foreign, international students. It's not a lot from our total amount of them, but because of specifics of our agriculture. Agriculture, as you understand, is connected with the geography and climatic conditions of the area where we live. One thing is in Africa, and the other is in here. But mostly, yes, our students are from CIS countries. Climate is changing, yes. And we, as people who live here, we see that the climate is changes, and you probably, we are not that close to Africa yet, climate-wise, but the average temperature higher, so some crops which probably, so it's a lot of things changes in agriculture. We'll talk about later. I am teacher. I teach in university and international relationships department, and this speciality. We train our teachers just on our students online. You don't need any special equipment. Yes, it was not easy to organize online teaching, but with this, well, we coped with that. As for your universities, where you're supposed to work a lot with in laboratories, how did you do that? You're right. Yes, it's we have a lot of practical classes. You have to do a lot of footwork and field work. You have to visit a lot of places. You have to go to veterinary clinic. You have to see animals. That's important question of, for example, quality of practical training or practical skills. That's what all our ministers tell us. We work a lot with our farmers, the agribusiness, with our agribusiness community. And of course we work a lot. We do a lot with them. It's of course we organize a lot of internship courses on the real farms, and where the students can learn advanced technologies. They can touch, they can feel these technologies, they can understand how they work in real agriculture. And modern real agriculture, it's not what we had 20, 30 years ago, where a lot of dirt, a lot of manual labor. Nowadays, in our fields, we have modern combines and modern tractors, which are as comfortable as the passenger car, with air conditioner, with everything, and not so much noisy. If we talk about animal breeding or animal farms, a lot of robotics and a lot of automatization, cleaning, manure, feeding. So that's why we try our students. We try to send our students to the farms where they can learn the most modern technologies. It's a one area, and the other one is we work together with the our partner business, we organize laboratories, we organize practical courses. For example, companies which produce agricultural machinery or supplies of the agricultural machinery, they organize in our institute their laboratories and their specialized workshops. They equip with their equipment, with their production. This is modern equipment which is available for teaching students, and we retrain specialists who already work in different companies with this. It is important when we can teach on the best pieces of equipment. And we invite them, and they participate with a great pleasure in this. And we have engineers from farms and mechanics from farms. That's very important to put together students and already working specialists. This is very important moments. We just what about veterinary university? You said that it's difficult to teach veterinary specialist, veterinarian, without touching animals, without doing something with a sick animal or when examining the animal. And of course, distance learning, of course, complicated a lot. So what we did, we tried to give more theory, keeping in mind that the next semester we can start offline, again come back to offline, and in reverse spend more time with real animals. We have vivary, we have cows, we have cats, dogs, we have sheep, we have special center where students can be trained and do something and learn on animals. And of course, distant learning had some challenges. So what was the way out? Well, there are a lot of visual aids, a lot of videos, a lot of online masterclass. Of course, they cannot substitute 100% real practical work. And so now when we come back to classroom teaching, we see that students are really missing classes. I talk to teachers, I talk to students, and I ask how class are organized, and they said students are so happy, they are sick of it, of these online courses. They really would like to work with the animals, do the real work, and that's good that we came back to normal life, to the offline teaching, classroom teaching, and we understand what we missed. So this distant learning period showed us how offline important, how classroom first-hand experience is important. We're trying to pay more attention to practical skills. What my colleague said, there is a tendency of choosing the best farms with the best technologies, and if we send our student to farm where it's very dirty, with a low productivity, with a low business culture, I mean, student will be demotivated to continue but in agriculture. But if you see, students sees how it can be done, and even students go to probably not the best, not the top-notch, not the most advanced agriculture farm, but when they see a good example to follow, and when you explain everything to students, student will try to follow best example. Student will try to follow and learn more from modern farms. Speaking of improvement, we, all of us who speak in the Republic of Tatarstan, our team, we have a lot of connections. We borrow and we learn best practices. What is your program What are your partnership programs with Russian universities, maybe international universities? Maybe you offer some exchange programs.
Maybe you are considering some programs of dual diplomas that other Kazan universities have. What novelties are your students to expect this year? I wouldn't give some specific novelties. We do continue working in the dimensions that we have already started in the university. Exchange student exchange, student internships, also at the agricultural enterprises abroad, mainly in Germany. Enterprises, not universities. We have both programs for enterprises and universities. What universities? There is a Doyle-Lenienburg Educational Center in Germany. We are collaborating with them for many years for industrial internship of our students at the enterprises. We have wonderful regulations with Wageningen University in the Netherlands. Together we are part of Agro MBA, European Association of Agrarian Universities, running an MBA program for agrarian programs. And with that university, we are running a joint agribusiness program. We are accredited in the Agro MBA Association. We would continue offering programs in line with that program. Talking about our university, I guess I can mention the fact that in year 2017 we filed our application to join European Association of Veterinary Education. It includes much wider circles. It has Korean universities from Japan and even Northern Africa, an open association. We had specialists from that association. They did travel and they studied our educational process, decided that we can get affiliation. This membership allows to, after some processes that we need to cover over the course of 5 years, some improving aspects, some 5 universities: Moscow Veterinary, St. Petersburg Academy of Veterinary Medicine, Stavropol Faculty, UFA, and us, Veterinary Academy. We have become affiliated members. This year we were to run next steps of the work. Due to coronavirus things, some elements were postponed. We were to have a meeting in May in France, in Nantes. It was in Hanover last year in Germany. Right now it's expected that it might take place in December, but the likelihood is very low. Membership in this association allows us to run student exchanges with institutions that are members of European Association. We are of course in touch with Denmark, France, Germany, but in our case most active contacts are mainly one-way street, us traveling there. But students coming to visit us is not that active. We are having quite a strong exchange with the University of Istanbul. Their students and postgrads are coming and studying in the university. In the year 2019, we had even 5 students from Istanbul doing studies for 5 months. For 2 months. And mainly we are having deals with Eastern European countries, with Romania, in line with the Erasmus program. There is a university in Poland, in Tartu in Estonia, Vilnius in Lithuania, countries with which we signed agreements in 1920, but due to epidemics we were unable yet to exchange students. We did have their teachers come and lecture. In Europe there is an option that if you are a professor at the chair and you are a member of an association, you should be traveling to other countries and giving lectures, as well as accepting professors from other universities. In line with that exchange, Our student exchange is currently run one way, students traveling to Europe, whilst professors and teachers are already coming our way as well. Talking about wider international relations, I would state that just this week we signed an agreement with Agrarian University of Samarkand, and we are opening up a branch of ours at Samarkand, talking about dual diplomas. This is a very interesting, attractive dimension. They actually came themselves requesting, don't they have veterinary faculty? They do. But they want to promote this dual diploma program for their students that graduate from the faculty. Will be getting dual diplomas that will be recognized both in the Russian Federation and in Uzbekistan. I would add maybe one more dimension that is important for international relations is opening up pre-university training center. We opened it up in 2016. We had over 20 students first year, 40 second year, 100 last year. This year only 50 applications, but this is once again related to the fact that our borders are limited. Once the border with Egypt was opened, we already have over 20 Egyptians willing to come over to study language. And 15% of theirs are staying as students. They are learning Russian. These are courses of Russian as a foreign run at your academy. Very interesting. Why not in other university? Many universities have those. Agrarian University also has one. Now, I'm just asking as a person who has nothing to do with industry, just interesting. And we are also helping them to get prepared to study in our university. We are also giving them some biology, chemistry, etc. We are, of course, trying to offer them to stay and study in our university. That's prestigious, international relations, monitored indicators. But those are also commercial students that helps us to earn some income as well. Our president says that by accepting foreign students, we are not only communicating, giving them our education, but also our mentality, our worldview, mentality. In that sense, export of education is very important. In this sense, I believe these courses are quite useful. I would remember a case, one student that was studying, then he got his PhD. He said, when I came back to my homeland, I understood that those who studied in Russia have nothing to be afraid of. That's probably not because we have that many problems, but because, say, foreigners living in other states often are facing difficulties. He said that my classmates that stayed home were very different. When I came back, I've seen that I was much readier to face challenges of life. Foreign students that have traveled, we are having plenty of African students, many from CIS countries, just like in Agrarian University. Many of them say that they would like to, and they do stay in Russia and work. I remember a veterinarian who graduated our academy. An African was working in Chipchugi. I don't know what is his destiny, but he did work for some 3 years there after graduating from our university. Very interesting. You mentioned the president. And may I just ask? I would like to ask a question that everybody is interested as a human and as a citizen of Tatarstan Russian Federation. I'd like to ask the following: our first president, Mintimer Shaimiev, and the current president of Tatarstan both studied in agricultural academy into the university. How does it happen that the leadership of the republic is coming from agriculture? May I add that Mr. Usmanov also graduated from Kazan Agricultural Institute, now university. which was a top leader of the republic, to add it to three. Well, I can't say if it's a coincidence or that's something to be expected. Will the next leader of the republic also be from agrarian university? He'll be trying hard to be capable of training such people that are capable of working in all industries, including in such high and responsible positions of leaders of regions, presidents, ministers. And that is against the background of us being from an industrial republic. The largest share in gross regional product of ours, 42%, is from industry, whilst agriculture is much less. It's about 10%. Yes. In some cases, if I'm not mistaken, about 14. It takes in the structure. And I would say that agriculture always was, is, and most likely will be a priority. It's important that our top leadership has agricultural education there as a base education. And in essence, they have a very deep understanding of specifics of the industry, which is probably why agriculture of Tatarstan is today among leaders overall around Russia. Okay, I have a question which is of interest to me to Rustam Hamidovich. I'm a dog owner. Quite often I'm requesting help of veterinarian doctors, and I noted that the best solution, never faced it myself, but we are being offered highly qualified staff, for example, PhDs, that helped us to overcome one complex task. How does science develop in this industry? When we are studying, say, foreign experience, for example, delegation of the Republic of Tatarstan is regularly attending courses in Singapore and Stanford, plenty of solutions, and the young men and women are developing various applications. And we also have local examples, people growing various proposal. How much of that kind of offering is in your industry? You started with a qualification with veterinarians that are responsible for pets, and then led to a different question. I would say that the level of servicing the needs of pets is quite high, be it in Kazan, in Nabережные Челны, Зеленодольск, Альметьевск, and Bugulma, for example. I'm afraid even to offend anybody by not naming good clinics with good veterinarian doctors. First of all, this is related to the fact that veterinarian community in the Russian Federation is developing quite quickly. That's related to the openness that is now there in the veterinarian community, open borders, open possibility to travel to Europe, to US, to get the best experience, to invite foreign professors to teach ours. Over the course of the last 3 years, we were having master classes. Strangely enough, even though the Republic is being known for horses, we breed them. Horses are our friends. We are obviously big in horse racing. We had to invite specialists that would knew how to treat them, how to diagnose them. There are few in the world that really know horses well and capable to diagnose them. And we were capable to close that gap by inviting specialists from Germany in line with the program also launched by our president in Tatarstan, Turingen. We are collaborating with the Biotechnology Center from Germany, and the owner of that enterprise, he is a horse owner. He has 30 horses of his own, has a large clinic in Germany. For 30 years in a row, he is coming over with his specialists, running master classes in our academy. He's bringing together some 30, 40 specialists and working with them, transferring knowledge to Tatarstanians. Talking about the science itself, quite often we are hearing questions, why don't you receive that many patents in veterinarian academy? Well, in biology, getting a patent is much more difficult than in engineering. I wouldn't want to offend engineers or physicists or chemists. We have a chair of mechanization. Majority of patents are coming out of there. They change the structure of something. They patent it easily to change even the structure against the virus, such as vaccine against the COVID or many other things. Genetic engineering. It is a high-tech, complex process. Thus, in biology, patentable changes are difficult, but to make you can run your studies, but patentable discoveries, etc., they don't happen that often. There are some challenges in this, but when we are talking about development of science overall, be it agrarian, be it veterinarian science, we can probably say that it's one of the advanced industries, scientifically advanced industries. You might hear about the genetic modifications that are being used in plant growing, in cattle breeding, animals that are not getting sick, or plants that can stand the drought. All that demands high-tech equipment, and unfortunately, we don't always have a chance to have access to such laboratories because the costs are huge. In this sense, agrarian university, and thus we are working very much with the federal university. Their ability to provide funding is much higher than ours. Right now, we are working in the project against African swine virus. Tatarstan, some even products, some foods were brought that respective viruses were discovered. So in line with the technology that Federal University uses for developing vaccines, we would like to use this in this contest of creating a vaccine. That would be difficult. The question is, what is the likelihood of us being able to get the vaccine against the African plague? We wish you success. Well, this is the highest technologies. Talking about university life, we are of course working on more applied issues such as digitalization of agricultural industry. Some matters. A very good dimension is green agriculture, products without chemistry, without pesticides. I know Agrarian University has a wonderful program in this regard, developing plant protection means without chemistry, without antibiotics. Thus, there are great prospects. There is, I guess, one side that all these scientific efforts require implementation in practice and having industrial partners, which means industrial companies that are ready to invest funding into the scientific technologies. That's a growth area. Yes, this is the area for growth. That's important information for us, the Tatarstan Investment Development Agency. We are always looking for niches to attract investors, and by investors, we understand not only foreigners, also our local enterprises. We are also working very actively with Russian regions. It's important for us to understand where we can attract these investors. And moving to agriculture, it might sound like a joke, but a truism. We practically have no attractive investors into agriculture. Even the ones that we were having were unable to implement projects in this area. Some even say you want to spend money, you can spend it for your woman or for agriculture. Sorry, in this case we mean maybe investments of those who are maybe not qualified in the industry like you.
So there are success stories, but there are stories of unsuccess. There are stories of failure, not only stories of success. When investors were not able to implement their project because they were from different climatic zone. Now the question is, out from these companies with which you work, there are some of them your graduates. There's companies which are headed by graduates, but some of them are not. So how do your graduates help you, in what way, apart from cooperating with you, just maybe giving opportunity to organize internship for students? Well, there are different ways. As you said, for us it's important that we organize internship for our students. Anything else? What can I say here? It's our students, our graduates help us. How do they help us? So they help us with our laboratories. If some of them had run big businesses and agro businesses, and they help us with in the area what they do. So they give us some materials, they give us some equipment, they help us to equip our laboratories and give us tools and instruments for practical classes. For us, it is serious money for us. So that is what it's a big help for us. Any new directions, maybe they just digitalization. You said maybe they give us some kind of new applications or something. We are agrarian universities. It is more developed. They're more developed in agrarian university and digitalization of fields. Arad can talk about more. Speaking of science, speaking of research, of course, this is very popular, very trendy. It's digitalization of everything, including agriculture. And of course, we work together, and we work with our Ministry of Agriculture, which help us to do that. We work together with our Republican Research Center in Ministry of Agriculture, which function is to digitalize our industry. Yes, and for us it's important to train specialists in these technologies so that students or our graduates, when they come to factories, come to agribusiness, they know how to work with them, they know how to fix everything, you know how to use machinery technically and technologically. Yes, this is what is our priority. This is our priority. We opened specialty robotics, and we work in this area. If we consider engineering, so we open laboratory, automatization, robotics in agriculture. We have 5 new laboratories which are going to open. We are supported by our president. We got resources, got the money, and this year we opened for the first time a group of students in automatizations and robotization of agriculture. First group. I heard in the news that we have drones which fly around the Republic of Tatarstan, so they just define and categorize lands and fields. And yes, we have it. We do it. It's done not only by us, and I can say that we very closely work with our Innopolis. They developed this area very well, and we also work together with our federal university. We plan development and improvement of these laboratories, and we plan to have joint research and development of autonomous tractors and driveless agricultural machinery. So what about people losing jobs? No, don't worry. In agribusiness, you can always find job. You have to see a number of people who live in countryside. It's going down. But we have new equipment with better performances, with better capacities, and this machinery needs less people to service, and so it saves us a situation a little bit. Nevertheless, the next question, the quality of these people who service this equipment, total different level. They must be highly trained with very special knowledge, able to work with this modern equipment, be able to use it to maintain these machineries using software. In modern world, in education and agriculture, you have to have a lot of different knowledge. The modern machinery, you need to know the agriculture as it is, technologies of agriculture, technology of plowing, technology of planting crops, and you have to know how driveless tractor works, and this is a matter of information technologies, electronics. So you see the connection must be very strong between different disciplines and different professions, and we have less and less manual labor. The work labor, we need not just driver or not just a tractor operator. We need somebody who can work with the electronics, who can adjust computers. It's like satellite navigation. If we talk about farms, we talk about smart farms. It's climate control programs. You know that many farms have music and special scratches for cows, and there is a special machine which cleans the manure and which pushes food to the feeders, so that cow feel more comfortable with the noise and music or something. And if we talk about digitalizations of animal breeding, it's a very promising area, how to manage herds of animals, because the cow must produce maximum milk, and cow productivity depends on how fast it will be fertilized, pregnant, and bring a calf and start lactation. to shorten this period. You can't make it very short because it depends on physiology. But service period, when the animal doesn't give milk, it's not good either because it gives losses. And then genetics, the creation of the highly productive animals, breeding highly productive animals. Highly productive animals are genetically tuned, and if a cow with a genetical potential 30 liters a day, if you don't feed this cow with necessary nutrients, and it's all done through computer programs, special food mix for specifically done for the special cow. We have to have a special ration for specific cow, not for the whole herd, not for the whole husbandry, or for the special pig, or for the special horse, which will be racing soon. That's a huge and promising future for digitalization. And this idea of the smart farm will be as simple as smart house. When you come in, say something, and you get the kettle boiling, light on, you sit at the table and you have cup of tea, sandwich, and you're ready to go. So everything is done for you by this smart environment. I believe that soon we will not have this dirty manual work on the farms. People will be more involved in the highly qualified work. I just wanted to say that about our graduates. I have to say that our graduates are very help us a lot, and we have a board of trustees headed by our graduate who 20 years was head of agriculture. Now he's deputy head of state council. Murat Akhmetov, he's a veterinary. He's the head of this board of trustees. And thanks to his efforts, during last 3 years, our academy got about 10 million rubles, different equipment, repair. And in this board of trustees, we have not only our graduates, half of this money we got from Agrosila company, and the head of this company, Elshad Fardiev, he's head of our board of trustees, and thanks to him, our students have a nice and modern canteen, cafeteria, because about 5 million rubles was invested into this facility, so that just to provide our students with the good catering, with the good food. It's important, yes, and our board of trustees maybe invested not that much, repaired some classroom or just set some equipment. So we always put a plaque. It's written that's repaired because of the board of trustees or thanks to this company. I think it's a very good stimulus. It's a good tradition. Because of pandemic situation, we did not have this meeting of the board of trustees. I believe that we'll have more time for it, and we plan in the nearest future, we plan to hold a board of trustees meeting, because we have things to discuss. So we would like to talk about it. 6 heads of administration graduated our university. If I missed somebody, sorry for that. But Agrarian University has more of them. You ask why presidents are from agrarian universities. Tatarstan has been agrarian all the time, and the fact we have industry now developed. Still, industry is the foundation of it, because so we have to see how much is done for agriculture by industry. Yes, because agriculture needs industrial input, and you say that we see that agriculture has a lot of promising future. Well, you can spend money ineffectively anyway. It's not about how much money you have, it's about how you spend money and on what for, where you invest. Now agriculture is very promising, for very prospective for investments, and the fact that now we implement new technologies and create new agro-business, agro-industry. It's just factories which produce poultry, produce milk, and the processing companies. It has nothing to do with these primitive farms or just like chicken houses which we had, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago. And so industry and agriculture are very closely connected. Strong agriculture is the food safety. Well, this food is very important. Love comes and goes, but people will be hungry all the time. It all agriculture is important industry, and a lot of fathers depend on it. We have some questions. Konstantin Ivanov is asking, what is the scholarship of your universities? The scholarship is about 2,000 rubles. Depends on your grades. From 2 to and 6,000 rubles. Apart from that, our students have social scholarship for those students who with low-income families, students. And even more, we have an interesting program which is which we do together with our Ministry of Agriculture. It's a scholarship from the company, from agribusiness, and it's called 50-50. And this is 10,000 rubles a month, which sums up with a regular money. It's when the company with which students signed a contract, a company pays 10,000 rubles every month, and the student is not working, but in future student will have to work with this company 3 years in this company. After it work 3 years. How many students do you have like that? About 120 of the students out of 5,000. 5 students are full-time and part-time. And it is only for the full-time students. For the full-time students. Its program is open. That anybody can join this scholarship program and get scholarship. It's important to find the company with which to sign a contract. We'll do it together with the Ministry of Agriculture. And the company pays 2,000, and then the budget compensates these expenses. So it's good for student who is studying and gets 10,000 rubles, and you can just calculate 10 plus 2.5, 3 and budget, and if it's a low-income family plus 3, so it can be about 16. So it's a salary of a young specialist. It's not a lot, but it is still support for the student. It's not bad. We have just a little time, and I would like to know So, well, scholarships are exactly the same. The size of the scholarship is defined by the budget.
I can only add here to what Ayrat Rasimich has said. Just like in their case, we have stipends for students that are active in various community programs. We add the extra 10% for team leaders or group leaders, and the maximum stipend that I have is about 3,000 something, plus the same is additional. There's the targeted program. There's a trilateral agreement between student organization and the university can be signed at any level. Probably not the last year, because there it would have to be attractive for the person once he graduates, for him or her to work at specific location. The earlier it is, the better when students are choosing where to work. Annually, such students of ours are signing such agreements, not first year when they're just coming into, but in the process of education. The Ministry of Agriculture is organizing annual meetings with employers where employers are showing what they can offer, and the students are signing such contracts and are quite satisfied. We are also having a different program, stipends of different companies. We are working with also an IT park and others. In bank, like Barsbank, the 10-15, no, it's a social program of our that's a social responsibility, incentivizing, as well as other companies. Bayer is running contests annually, and they are giving good scholarships to good students. There are quite good number of such companies. The students, especially the ones that are showing good results in education, they have wonderful opportunities to get good stipends. I also hearing questions whether you are offering dormitories to students. Yes, 100%. We are offering. The only thing what we don't offer dormitories to those who don't study well, who don't attend lessons, don't come to exams. First year and last year, we have to be providing dormitories 100% in line with the law on education. Whilst on second, third year, some students are unable to live in dormitories because sometimes we don't have places in dormitories. First of all, in our case, those are students that have not been showing good academic results. Ayrat Vasimich, Ayrat Hamidovich, thank you very much for being with us at 100% Tatarstan online forum of ours. You've seen that questions are being asked. We do hope that you have shown this topic somewhat better for our spectators, just like for me too, because this platform was created as an educational project for our population, for them to be learning more about what we have in different industries. I would like to thank you. I'm saying goodbye to everybody who watched us among the forum participants. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you.